Alright, hello everyone. I'm just gonna go over a quick recording of a game I played and talk about some stuff. Alright, playing YOLO. Um, Looking at this opener, there are like a couple of things that I think of. There's a possibility to play Archer, but it doesn't feel that great to me because I won't have good tanks. Like so far, if I play Archer, I don't really want to play it with Angler, so then I probably won't have a Kingpin as a tank, so then I just have Oathbreaker as my tank value, Gate Guard to help me on 5 and 6. Doesn't feel that strong with Archer and no viable damage for 13 yet, so I'm not sure if I want to commit to like a Pierce heavy opener. So I think with this one I'd rather play the Gate Guard, especially because Gate Guard got buffed and it's quite strong right now. Let's just move along. All right, so I'm starting Gatelark Angler because I want to have the Kingpin for some value because it's very strong. Also have a plan for 3 this way. I do have other options, like I could go with Raker or something, but my plan is to shift a little bit on 2 and get the bounty on 3. Trying to leverage the fact that Gateguard Angler probably people don't want to snail this on 2. So let's just go through the early game. Uh, Everyone king ups. I'm looking at my golds and I'm deciding whether or not I want to build full. And I am making the decision that I just want to build. I don't want 2 kingpins this game. I think it will make me really weak on 10. It might make, not sure when exactly I want to get out the second kingpin yet, so decided to just go for 1. Uh, so I'm sending it to Flower Aqua. I don't really mind sending this on 3 because prioritizing my own build. So they're probably not going to leak, especially if I just send DT. So it won't be a fast wave 3. It'll be a fast wave 3. I'll get my income, not and then still be fine for 4. But the person sent to me is like open 5 worker and a rat, so I can get like a 60 cent here. So I do have to actually be mindful. Um, Looking at my gold for next, it doesn't look amazing. So that's why I reroll to try and come up with a plan now. And I take the infiltrator and the antler because it'll help me scale my builds. I have way too much Pierce in my roll, so I also need to fix that. And between the other options, we need to pick up one of the arcane tanks. I'm deciding on a few things. I'm gonna keep my tier 1 for sure. There's an argument that I keep the angler over the oath, but I like the gold flexibility of having a tier 1 over an angler. We need an infiltrator for 13, and the antler is a powerful synergy with some of my units, and it'll be a great natural tank, which I'm also missing. There's an argument for Garg. That would be, Garg has great synergy with White Man. It's a better tank. I might get more value out of it um, as an individual unit. My Steed synergies aren't amazing, just the Gate Guard, which might be good in the early game, but I don't really want to build it on 4. So the choice for when I build it isn't exactly clear. So in the end, you can see I'm initially thinking about Garg, but I decided to just take the Steed for some more flexibility early game. Potentially to help like a Harb that I get out, and I switched back to the Gate Guard because I know this unit can actually be decent later on now. And it's kind of just better than anything else in my role. Like maybe Angler, you could make the argument that Angler is better, and maybe I should keep it, but um, in my mind, I already committed off Angler. So I get a 60 cent here. I'm not willing to push more. You can see me checking my gold. Like if I push here and I have like 40 gold or 52 if I send, then I'm building just like 2 chain fists, and that's not going to be good enough to hold a resend. Um, and my opponent, I'm pretty sure, can resend me like 40. So best for my build to not overpush here and just get out my infiltrator. I thought a little bit about building Steed here, but then I thought about my plan for the rest of the game, and I think Infiltrator makes more sense because it'll be stronger on 5, which will let me build a bit less, so that I can get the Orchid or the Harbinger out for 6, which right now looks like a potential weakness. So I get Snow King up here, which I assume is a full send, so I'm willing to push 2, even though I'm not going to be able to build much. I have the option to boost my Infiltrator, which will help me clear quite well. Gate Guard and Bounty aren't the worst units on 5. I feel pretty comfortable full pushing here, and um, my mate also is going to go for a save, so I will have some pressure off me. He gets his guy here, which means a longer wave, which made me regret a little bit pushing, but it's still fine. I was thinking between sending Hermit or Dino. I'm pretty sure Shay is 6 workers, but I still want to. I just like greed check him here. Like maybe he is overconfident. I catch him building for something else. I mean, very likely he's getting his Sky Queen. Shay is, so this might be a poor decision. I checked my gold because my value was a bit worse than I thought it would be. Um, then I'm thinking about not building this chain, but I'm realizing like it's way better to just build this chain, leak less here in case I do get a full send here. Which probably could be like 60, because this card is actually more pushed than I thought he was. But I actually get skipped here, which is pretty nice, because now I don't really have weaknesses. I have a plan for every wave. I'm getting my harp next wave. I see this guy queen here. I'm like, ah, shit. I probably should have just incomed, but it's fine. It's not that big a deal. Um, yeah, so my plan is harp here on 7. I can either go for like archer steed or just the orchid upgrade, depending on what my gold looks like, and then hopefully either get the orchid, archer, something out for 8. It all depends on, I guess, my read for when they want to send, what my teammate is feeling. So I just send to get my harp here. Obviously, I'm not sending full because I don't want to release the pressure on Shay. And I also already spot that 8 might be a decent wave. Hopefully I tab to their build soon so I can explain why I like 8. But if their units are like, oh shit, I just did it. Oops. Okay, so yeah, they have Fire Aqua, Flower, and Harpy or Sky Queen, which are all like um, somewhat weak on 8 to Triad Sense. And if we look at Exod's build, his build just looks like crap on 8. Like he doesn't have any pierce damage yet. Um, and his Arcane Tank is weak on 8. Or it's much better on 7. So I'm thinking in my head, if I can get a send here, I'll be very happy to go 8. And I get a send here, so definitely makes my game easier. Especially since it's a full send, Income King. So I can push really hard here. I'm not worried about next wave. I do see my mate get saved on here, so I'm a little cautious about over pushing because my units aren't actually that strong. It would have been different if I had gotten a not a full send, and I would have had to play a bit, maybe more cautiously, but I probably would have been about the same either way. It just would have been more potential of like a brute resend, which my build isn't strong against. But that fast wave makes me feel confident enough. Like I build a little bit here, because I do want to cover my teammate if he gets a send. Check my gold because I have a plan to get Kingpin next. I could have adjusted my plan actually to get Orchid in retrospect this game because my opponent is getting starved. My teammate is starving him, so the sun I get on it is going to be probably pretty small. You can see X got added a Pilgrim here, which is a decent answer for 8, but in my head I already see his build is weak to Mimic, so I like tell my teammates like if he wants to try it, send him, like Mimic should probably get him. I also realized in the back of my head, actually I could go Alpha Mill here, but I don't think it's good enough versus Mimic still. Um, so tell my teammates a little something, little secret. Yeah, Mimic is good because, I mean, the Chiefs, if he goes for the Chieftain upgrade, it's very tanky against it, and it does a lot of damage to his tanks, which are like not the wargs, obviously, but to the strong units on the wave. I'm a bit short on gold here, so I just think about whether or not I can get away with building Orchid, but I think to myself, my teammate's getting saved on. Let's just not be stupid and get the Kingpin out. This will let me push a bit harder, and I won't have to get. And now that Kingpin's not as good on 10, I thought to myself, like, I don't actually want to be overinvested into the Kingpin. I boost here just in case. Like it's just a waste of gold, but like the small waste of gold if it helps me cover better and us take no king damage, then I'm fine with that. You can see that Exod actually went for the alpha male, not the chieftain, but as we shall soon see, the sun still is working perfectly fine. The rest of his units are still bad to mimic. I'm thinking now about like what I want to do later. I'm looking at Trey's hold, and it's like, oh, it's pretty good actually, and it's a bit unlucky. Like maybe if I pushed a bit more, but I did think that my choice to play safe was fine. Exod gets a bit unlucky not killing the mech there, which is really nice for us. Um, Thinking whether or not I want to go 10 versus this build, and like in the back of my head, I'm like, I'm pretty sure they're thinking they want 11 on us, and there's a bunch of offensive spells in the game, which makes 11 a little more appetizing. I know that Shay doesn't look amazing because he has two aquas invested, but I think to myself, like, he actually has like some amount of tank value, and if he just goes for another Sky Queen, he has a very good chance of holding 10, and I probably can't leak him big, and if there's just small leaks and they go big 11 on us, we could be in trouble. I'm not the worst 11 because I have Orchid and Kingpin Giga as tanks. I do a little math because I'm like, maybe I need to get the Trinity out if they hard push, just in case I can sell the chain in the split and get it. But I see that Shay built a little bit. He added a Wander. I look at my teammates build a couple times just to make sure. But I'm fairly confident in my read that they're going 11. Let's just go a little bit faster to this so we can get to the next wave. I have like 400 gold. I'm thinking in my head like I can build double antler. And I thought about grading for the aura, but I was like, it's too bad if I get ascend here. So I also thought about building orchid just straight up here, but there's no need. I'm gonna spend 200 gold in antler next wave probably anyways. So might as well just get the unit that's better on the wave, which is the antler. Took a look at my teammate's value. It was a bit concerning. Like he's not actually that strong here. He's not like horrible or anything, but my value looks okay. And I see that they skip, which is good. I see you built Daphne, really good. Hold on, let me go back to their builds. So like I'm looking at what I can send against Shay. I'm probably gonna get to like 240. So in my mind, I went through a couple options. I'm thinking like is Four Eyes good? I'm like no, not really. He has like triple Wanderer, not that many big stuff. Um, like even if he goes Samurai Soul, like he's lacking a lot of damage. Um, so I'd rather send stuff that's a bit send some a higher DPS merc. Or like a more efficient DPS merc, and then get some more tanks out, aka like spam snails. So in my head, I'm thinking witch snails looks pretty good. Snails are pretty good against the Daphne and the Sky Queen. Not bad against the Aquas. The other option I considered was a GK. Sending the GK to the split because he does have over split. The idea being like, yes, he has Daphnes and a Sky Queen to kill the GK, but if his tanks all run up to the wave and then the GK wraps his DPS, he could leak quite hard. But there's also villain in the game, so it didn't really make much sense to me. I went for this, more conservative, like more simple send, which is just witch and spam. And I think it is the best send. As to send against X God, he has his damage source is just this one chieftain, and his tank source is in the natural tank. So like in my mind, I thought my teammate should send something like probably just like the same as me, witch DTs. But I mean, he goes for his own send, which is fine. It's not the worst, not the best. I didn't actually see his Mythium, so I could have told him what to send, but it's fine. It doesn't make a big difference. You guys are like Pack Dino, which is like totally fine. I mean, he has 240 in income. I probably would just send Witch DT or just Four Eyes. Four Eyes isn't that good because he has slimes though. So I think Witch DTs would probably make the most sense. DTs to counter the Chieftain, which to add some damage and be pretty strong versus his slime board. Yeah, I just go Orchid here and boost. Like it's my it's my best damage. In case I get a send, this is the best way to hold. And I want to put I upgrade the one back there just so that it's safer. It's not as close to the middle, so it's gonna get targeted later. So that I still have some DPS behind my Kingpin. I go AOA and add a mole here, just because he has a lot of units that are bad versus mole, like Daphne, Sky Queen, Aquas. As it turns out, he has an LOD with villain, so Mole isn't like the best send of all time. You can see I like already like think about what the next wave is on 11. 13 isn't possible because they have villain and good units. Like most likely 14 is the best. They have a chieftain, a bunch of natural tanks on X God, and on Chase Lane you have a build that's doesn't really have a lot of damage. Like Sky Queen is his best DPS there. And the LOD is weak there as well. So I don't see an arcane tank yet. So I'm thinking to myself like, yeah, it's looking pretty good on 14. Yeah, we leaked them pretty decently here. My teammate leaks small, I think, but I cover, so it's not a big deal. We get a little king damage here, which is important because with the tenacity buffs, it's a lot harder to one-shot someone. So chipping them throughout with like about a couple small leaks is important. You can see we actually get like a pretty good amount of king damage there. So they're getting closer and closer to kill range. My teammate also has Phoenix, so that's another reason why I'm very not scared about 13. Like I'm considering it. That's the whole time. The only thing I'm thinking about right now is, do I want to build full for 13? Because then I might be weak on 14, and my teammate also doesn't look good on 14. So I thought to myself quite a bit about this. And I'm like pretty sure it's if I check my value and I check what they build. If they don't look like they pushed hard, then I'm okay. They actually don't build, which is the correct thing to do. It's not easy for me to tell then. But let's just go to my wave 13. I asked my team if he has reroll because his roll looks like he could use a fortified tank, but it's not a big deal. I'm definitely going. I decided I'm definitely going white min because it's too much value. Even it's here, it's definitely insane value. But also next wave, it's quite good because it's gonna buff like 3 units that are strong on the wave already. And then I'm thinking about what to do with the rest of my golds, and I decided like I want to commit to building for 14 because my teammate is so broken here. He has a head chef Phoenix that can't be four-eyed. Like the only send versus this is Mimic, but if he has a head chef, there's no way it's leaking basically, unless it's a ridiculously huge send and he's on value. So I just tell my teammate I'm gambling a bit. I have a no split Trinity Archer, so if I do get a send here, I'm leaking probably, and I don't even boost. I don't even have the gold to boost. But you know the read is right. They also decide that we could just overbuild for 13 and make the more conservative call and go 14. Actually, what happens here is Shay builds for 14. You can see that he pre-built an Iron Maiden and Cage of Pain, where X got built a full Hellgate, so he's not building. He decides he's going to cover 13. Shay's going to cover 14 because he has better units there. We have to send now, obviously. We're going to leak big if we don't send. So I'm thinking about what to send here. I have like probably somewhere under 400 myth. Thinking about what I want, and I'm pretty sure I thought of a couple options here. I was kind of tempted because I had 360 to just send Needler to try and snipe the Iron Maidens, but I didn't think I would get Mole post income, which would be pretty bad versus build. His Aquas, his Daphne, his Iron Maidens, they're all bad versus Mole. So like in my head, I was like, I'm pretty sure I want Mole. So then I was like, okay, Ogre is good enough versus his fortified tanks and arcane tanks. He really doesn't have a lot of units that are good versus Ogre. The Ogre also like gets to farm these polys for some resets. Um, and it's just gonna be a high DPS unit, and I get a send pack. Like my thinking is like I go Ogre pack Mole as my send. I thought about trying to just go Mole Hermit here, but I thought in my head that I'm getting Mole post income. We'll see that I'm wrong, and I'm a little bit sad about it. I like think to myself like, damn, can I? That's kind of annoying, but it's fine. As for what to build here, I like could build a Steed as my arcane tank, but I was just like, I'm pretty sure I have enough tank value with a white main on Gate Guard, and I feel like I'm lacking some damage because my damage this wave is basically one Trinity Archer. So I decided to go for this, and I full boost because obviously boosting is an insane value spike. Yeah, I couldn't get Mole, so I just go with Hermits. It's still fine. Like, it heals the wave against the AoE. Obviously, Mole would be better. But what can you do when you're, make a bed? Judgment. I got a send here. It's like a decent send. Mole to counter my Trinity, Ogre to kill some of my tanks, and DTs for my Orchid boost. But I'm on value. I'm pretty sure I'm holding. I look at the send from my end. Looks like pretty good. His Iron Maiden gets 2 casts, so the wave is like pretty low, but the Ogre is fast enough at killing everything. And I look at my teammates' build, and I was like kind of concerned about this Needler send, but it's good enough, I guess. Uh, yeah, whatever. I don't think Needler is the best on here, but it's good enough. It's still good against his arcane tanks. For the next call, I'm thinking like, can we go 16? I look at Shay's build and I'm like, nope, there's no way we can go 16. Hold on, let me pause at the right time this time. Okay, yeah, so he has Flower and Iron Maidens. Like, he has way too much AoE. He even has some single target behind it with the villain and the Hades. So we have to go 17. And I'm a little bit worried because I'm like, Exod is actually quite good on 17. My teammate isn't. But I feel okay. My teammate should just push a little bit harder because I'm actually a god on 17, so I'm not worried. And normally I might shift a bit more value than I do here, but I decide I want fast waves, so that 16 isn't a possibility because one option they have, they're behind, right? So they might want to try and make a play to hit our 16. I'm not actually weak there either because I still have good pierce damage and good tanks, and my teammate is pretty cracked there for the same reasons he was good on 13. So I'm not that worried. I thought about telling him to push a little bit more, but it's like, it's whatever. Like, it's not gonna make it. It's a bit late. Like, I probably should have told him beforehand. And I thought in the back of my head that Xcode could directly Sui and try and have Shay delay the longest, but um, it's no big deal. Let's move. Wave 16, or we can talk about my choices to build here. I just go triple a third archer because I'm like, I really just need damage in this build. I have really, really good tank value for here and next. Think about building this gear in the split, but like I said, it's probably fine to just build in the main. Like, it still does a little bit of damage. Um, I shift the golds because it's not gonna make a difference. My teammate looks cracked on 16. I'm on good value, so I don't think that they pushed hard. Also, I saw Shay built to Hades on 15 actually. So I know that Shay did not full push, which would be the more concerning thing. So we don't get a send here, so it's gonna be 17. I look at the builds, and I like thought to myself, like, I probably should just send the same thing, like Ogre, Pack Mole or something like that. But I was very tempted to send this Needler and just to see how it does, because it still does a lot of DPS, especially if it gets to King. And Shadow explained like why it's actually not the bad, like why it's quite good here, because it has the ability to snipe the Iron Maidens, which are a lot of his damage here on this wave. It's actually quite a decent send. There's no real good tanks to send with this build, especially with upper split, so I feel more confident just sending damage because it's a pretty squishy build. It only has Wanderers so far. As it doesn't really have that much tank value, especially on 17. As for my mate, I'm pretty sure the best send is just like Pac-Man Imps, but the Needler unit is pretty strong, so I don't mind his send. I think Needler, I don't like the Witch that he ends up sending. I think probably just Imps are better. They're just too good against the natural tanks. Uh, then as for what to build here, I have 3 archers, so I'm pretty confident in that amount of DPS. I think I'd rather just get more value on this white man. I don't want to build an Orchid here. I could and boost it, but it's not as good as just selling this guy and building some tank value. And then I'd rather boost than build a Chain Fist again, because boosting is still very good value. And I don't want to sell an Orchid, so I sent the mole this time because I know I need the mole to counter his damage, more so than on 14, and I think I'd rather have it over the pack at this point. Yeah. So let's see. I get a decent send here. It's actually not the best send versus me. Ram is kind of inefficient, especially when I have upper split. Like, I don't really hit this Ram for a while. And I'm thinking that we need to go 20, but the game is going to end, so we do not need to actually end up going 20. But you can see the Ram just literally doesn't do anything. You need to send to counter my tanks. Imps are probably good because they're also very tanky against the archers. You see my Needler send works. I think that's more so a factor of Shay being undervalued, but yeah. And then this Needler, which Snail sent, ends up leaking him just enough so that they die. 2 Needlers and a couple of creeps should be enough to kill them, so they FF. Yeah, that's pretty much it from that game. Nothing too crazy, just some pretty average game. Yeah, thanks for watching.